Good evening, Moonscouts. I'm your troop leader, Bunnie, and welcome to Campfire Tales. Come sit close to the fire and listen to what I have in store for you tonight. A Haunting in Westbrook Manor, Part 4, by W.E. Jenkins. We had been approached by the dead girl in this place. Her bloody clothes were tattered, there were bruises on her face. Blood dripped from her body, a steady downpour. The drips disappeared upon falling on the floor. She did not attack. She welcomed us here. Her presence, somewhat frigid, but I did not feel fear. Before our very eyes, she vanished from the hall. Before she disappeared, she points to frames upon the wall. Just as we turned to walk toward the frames, a sudden burst of light lit the room like wild flames. Light fixtures on the wall and chandeliers above our head abruptly lit the hall, shedding light upon the dead. Our flashlights rendered pointless. We both turned them off. The somewhat dim lighting made us feel less lost. With new illumination, the grand all came into view. The frames were painted portraits of the family, just a few. My friend and I stepped closer to study painted scenes. The images depicted were so far from the serene. The frames portrayed the family, but they really did it badly. Each of the family members appeared so far from happy. The paintings in the frames were so decayed and torn. The faces in the paintings were personified scorn. The little girl appeared, this time beside me. These faces were the last of my family tree. Her voice was weak with sadness from her old eternal loss. She never got the chance to grow, forced to pay the cost. She vanished yet again, fading from sight. Once her ghost was gone, so were the lights. Again, we found ourselves tripping up in total blackness. The house had a way of driving humans into madness. In the total dark, we fumbled for our flashlights. The inside of this house was even darker than the night. The flashlights gave us enough light to barely move. We continued onward with just our lives to lose. We stumbled in the dark, unaware of what was there. Eventually, we tripped upon a massive set of stairs. We ascended with intentions of reaching the upper floors. The steps were wide and vast, red carpet stained with gore. A few more steps ahead, we spotted something move. We heard a room scream, abrupting like a cannon boom. Once again, the chandeliers and lamps burst to life. The bright and sudden presence of the light pushed back the night. The woman's screams continued, a loud series of shrieks. A few steps further up the stairs, there, down on her knees. Her back was turned toward us. She was pleading out in terror. She panicked and she screamed like being punished for her errors. She pleaded like a beggar to someone not even there. Her ghost was all alone. There were no others on the stairs. It seemed as though her spirit was just talking to itself, begging for her life in fear, but there was no one else. Suddenly, her screams were silenced. She became so calm. She rose to her feet with blood dripping from her palms. She stood there in silence, and we both felt the dread. After a few seconds, she began to turn her head. Slowly, yet progressively, she turned to stare at us. Her head turned so unnatural as wind arose in gusts. We stood in disbelief, hoping she'd vanish without trace. But she didn't vanish. She just lingered there, enraged. Her gown was drenched in blood. Blood was also in her hair. She knew that we intruded, and she knew we were aware. With her head hanging low, she began to mumble. I was in a state of shock, and I very nearly stumbled. Suddenly, she lifts her head while bleeding from the mouth. It seemed as though her bleeding eyes had been severely gouged. Her flesh was cold as stone, so gray and marked by blackened veins. Her once brown hair had turned to black from the blood she bled in pain. We did not understand how she had been invoked. Despite the vomiting of blood, she looked at us and spoke. Have you seen the children? Can you keep them safe? We did not have the answers. This seemed to fuel her rage. She asked us yet again. This time was loud with anger. With every word she spoke, we felt impending, painful danger. Finally, my friend answered. His voice was weak with fear. "We've only seen your daughter. We just arrived here." She seemed to understand him. She's more calm than before. She even gave a grin, then she pointed to a door. The door was one of 3, on a landing to her left. The lights dimmed and she faded. We hoped she was at rest. We once again found ourselves in total darkness standing. The flashlight saving glow helped us to get up to the landing. Atop the stairs, so ominous this place, it dwells within you. We opened the door, and then we started to continue. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, Moonscouts. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's video. If you did, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to Camp Brightmoon. And don't forget to hit the little bell button so you don't miss any new videos. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links will be in the description below. And we have a Camp Brightmoon Patreon page. So thank you so much again, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!